Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com. 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? I know I've said a very special episode of the Celtics Talk podcast, but this might be the specialist list of them all. Bill Chisholm, new owner of the Boston Celtics, was kind enough to drop by our studios this week, a chance to talk about taking over ownership of the Celtics, what that process has been like, but also a chance to go back, live his Celtics fandom, find out a little bit more about the man that we will maybe affectionately call Billy Banners, or do we have to wait on that? But anyway, let's get right into it. Here's my chat with Bill Chisholm. Has it sunk in? Owner of the Boston Celtics?
I like the way that sounds. Yeah. I don't know that it ever will. There's a lot of joy in the Chisholm household right now.
Take me back. When is the first time you ever thought? I think every kid in New England thinks someday I'm going to own the Boston Celtics. First you want to play for the Boston Celtics,
Yeah.
Then you want to own the Boston Celtics. When did you say, I could really own the Boston Celtics?
About the moment before we signed. I didn't believe it. Is this really happening? Is this really gonna happen? And then, no, I would say it was over a year ago that the whole thing got started, and it took a year, but for the Boston Celtics, that was worth it. I'd say there were discussions along the way that were pretty seminal. Some of the other owners, spending time with Wick. And then actually, one of the big things was coming in and meeting the management team too. I don't think people I didn't realize what's behind the scenes there. And Rich Gotham's group, fantastic group. And then Brad and his group, just amazing. And that was these are my people, this is my team, and I want to make this happen.
But what about at home? So I go to my wife and I say, hey, I want to put in a golf simulator. She's like, no. You go, I want to go buy the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
What does Kimberly and the children say when you tell them you want to do that?
I think first there was just a bunch of laughter. What are you talking about? That's absurd. But ultimately, I don't know. I am a huge fan. They may be even bigger fans. So, but it was a family decision for sure. This is you don't make a decision like this lightly, and you do it as a group. And I think what really, as we started processing and thinking about it, it was not just being part of the Celtics on the court, it's being part of the Celtics off the court. That was super important to my family and the platform for good that the Celtics actually represent, and the ability to have the kind of impact in the community, and particularly parts of the community that might be at risk or whatever. That's just an incredible opportunity. And, as we put it all together, that combined with the on-the-court stuff, we closed the deal.
How difficult was that period from, we talked about, what was it, February when you were the bid, to getting to the finish line? Are there nervous nights? Are there, how does that process play out for you?
Yeah, I think there was a feeling. I felt like it got easier. I think there was a real feeling of momentum that was building. And we put together a group of fantastic owners, investors, and as I started spending time with them, and we got that all sorted out. I spent more time with the organization. I felt like it was just fitting together really well. And some of the the questions: am I doing something? Is this crazy? What am I just chasing some childhood dream or something like that? But as that started to come together, it just built on itself. And then, I would have been heartbroken if it didn't happen, but it did. So here we are.
Is there a celebration moment along the way? Was there one? Was it the bid? Was it the closing? Where do you celebrate?
Yeah, I think there were multiple celebrations. We try to be very grateful about it. So everything from the first game we came to when the deal had been announced to getting out to the Bill Russell dedication today. There have been many celebrations along the way, and I think there'll be many more to come.
Take me back to, I want to go way back first before then we get to your ownership group and everything like that. just first basketball memories.
Yeah.
What is the first thing that jumps to mind when you think about your Celtic fandom?
Yeah. Well, I have to give a shout out to my cousin Phil Chisholm. There are a lot of Chisholms around the Boston area, but he and I found an ad for some tickets in the Globe. I think it was back then. There wasn't Ticketmaster or StubHub or whatever. So, and they were listed for like $8-9. And I'm like, this is incredible. This is like, let's do it. So, took the paper route money and poured it into buying a couple tickets. And we got there, and it's the classic, sitting behind, the obstructed view, but it didn't really matter, just being part of that. And then, as 10, 12-year-olds, we worked our way down to the court by the end of the game. That was I actually do have memories of the mid-'70s teams, which were really good, but there was a tough time until one Larry Bird showed up on the scene, and then, wow. Took off. But that was one of my first memories, is going to that game.
I was going to say, you get better seats now, by the way. But who were your favorite players along the way in the early ages? Like, who was the first guys you gravitated towards?
Yeah, I like to laugh. I was a very mediocre high school basketball player, but I fashioned my game after Kevin McHale. Loved Kevin McHale in the low post and all his up and unders and everything. He's just fantastic, and the enthusiasm he played the game, had for the game, all that. I really liked players like ML Carr, who was, just really hard worker, defense first, energy, all that. Reggie Lewis, that really broke my heart. Like, really was tough, and I felt like the sky was the limit for him. And I think he was, he was doing it the right way, and the sky would have been the limit for him. So that was one. And then more recently, I love Leon Poe for similar reasons.
Yeah. And now he's part of the organization. I see him sitting next to you.
I saw him this morning. Yeah, I saw him this morning. Yeah, fantastic. Not only player but person. Yeah.
So, give me the scouting report on Bill Chisholm's high school or grade school game. Like, I heard a pretty glowing report that someone said if you had been 6'7", that you would have been gravitated towards basketball. What was the game like?
6'7" and actually could shoot maybe, but I was I was a man without a kid without a position, really. So was not very good at any of them, but was okay at a bunch of them. So. I did a nice job cheering from the bench too, which actually, I joke about it, but you learn from those things, and probably learn more from that kind of thing than actually step on the court. But pretty mediocre.
You were not mediocre at soccer. When did that become a thing? When did you realize that you had some soccer skills?
Yeah, I would say I played 3 sports in high school, which nowadays is, you just don't do that, and this doesn't happen, not because, the kids are just, I think, are far more talented in some ways and better trained and all that, but that focus, I do think that's too bad in some cases, but like high school, we had a very good high school team, and then I ended up playing in college as well with a pretty spectacular group of folks as well. What do you have there? Uh-oh.
So I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. I'll put this on the one shot later. But so this is November of 1986.
Yeah.
When Brooks won the ISL championship game. Do you remember what you did in that game?
Me personally?
Yeah.
You
can brag.
Okay.
Goal and an assist.
Yeah.
And was the captain of the undefeated 14-0-4 team.
Yeah.
Do you remember this moment and holding up the trophy?
I do. It was really heavy.
Well, I was going to say to spin it forward, we should think about when you can get one of those Larry O'Briens and hold that up. Have you thought about what that would be like?
I have, and I'm going to die trying. I'll tell you that. But yeah, those are some pretty special times. That's a great feeling. I love to compete, and that's one of the other things about this is it's a chance for an old guy like me to do my little part in terms of competing. So.
I was going to say, were you a ruthless competitor? Like, give me the you on the soccer pitch. What was it?
I'd say I really hated to lose. Like I probably you kind of learned that. I was one of the kids that would take his glove and or the ball and go home if I lost in the neighborhoods. And there are folks out there that can actually back that up. But I think that's you learn to compete the right way. But I love that competition and looking forward to it here too.
Tell me a little bit about the fandom as in the years leading up to buying the Boston Celtics. So you were out in the Bay Area, right?
Yeah.
2022 finals, like what's that like for you out there?
Well, I went to the first game.
Hold on, when that was, so that would have been okay.
That was in Golden State. That was a good result, and I felt like, I actually feel like that was something the Celtics had to go through, and frankly something that I had to go through as a fan probably because it had been a while. But then when the time came again, which I thought was going to be the next year, but 2 years later, like I think the team and Jalen and Jason and they were ready for it, and but it was tough because I felt like they were the better team, and I knew that. I mean, I think we all knew that.
Is there other people in your circle that are Warriors fans out there? Or was like, did you have to...
insufferable. Like, yeah, no, you're surrounded by. It's actually interesting. There are a lot of Boston folks out there, but the Warriors are they've Steph Curry is such a talent. I think they've built a pretty strong fan base, but nothing like Boston.
So spinning forward to 2024, as you said, they got over the hump. I think I read that you were making hype videos for your family.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it. Can you just give me like what is a Bill Chisholm hype video like?
Yeah.
When you're sending it to the family. It's
basically. You were talking earlier about your kids mocking you for what failed hair? I guess was it? Yeah.
Terrible facial hair.
It's just basically me making a fool of myself, but out in the driveway with a basketball and the hoop down at 6 feet and still not being able to dunk and trying to build some energy around it for my extended family, just having a good time with it and I knew they were going to win. And I did videos before that proclaiming that, and they got it done.
Is there music?
Yeah. A lot of one of them's set to Rocky music, and there's another ones that are Guns N' Roses. It's all the Shipping Up to Boston is like. It's
the whole Garden playlist.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're not going to. So that's one thing you won't take her with at the Garden, right? Like
no,
opening tip-off songs, all that.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. I guess I think Joe plays Shipping Up to Boston every practice pretty much. So got to keep that too. Well, I don't know if I'm disclosing anything here, but it's
nothing surprising with Joe.
Yeah.
What's that been like to have your family? I see your kids courtside.
Yeah.
How exciting is that to immerse them in this whole process?
Yeah. I mean, it's really a source of joy for our family, and I wish everyone had that opportunity because it is. I think so the sports and Celtics specifically for our family, it just is. It's like it really connects you with other people. Like there's nothing like being in an arena and having thousands of people just going nuts, and your family's there, and you're all pulling for the same thing, and it's a really joyful experience, and I just have incredible gratitude for that.
Did they gravitate to it on their own? Did you have to steer them a little bit, or do they make any hype videos as well, or is it just you?
Actually, let's maybe we make that happen. If you give them a little prodding, maybe that'll help.
Next time I'm courtside, I'll just let them know, like, hey, Dad's bringing the energy, and you won a title.
Yeah.
Are you in on this or are you not?
Yeah, we'll make it conditional, and then they have to do it. Yeah, they came to it. I think it was impossible not to come to it. Yeah, when I was such a and have been such a nut. It was funny because my youngest son, Quentin, we had a deal because I was in the West Coast and the Celtics would play, and it would be 4 o'clock out there, and I'd be at work, and I'd tape the games, and he would want to watch the games, and I said, let's just wait for me to get home. We'll watch it on tape. And he just couldn't do it. He's like 7 years, 8 years old, and it's like that self-control wasn't quite there yet. The deal was, okay, but you can't tell me what happens. If you're going to watch, you can't tell me what happens. And I always knew that if you were out in the driveway shooting hoops, Celtics won. And if he's up in his room, then Celtics lost. So he wasn't up in his room very often, of course, because it's the Celtics.
I was going to say, it does make it a little bit easier. Like you kind of free up the night if you need to. Or...
No, I would still watch, but I knew the result was. No, I watched.
Tonight's show is brought to you in part by 24autogroup.com. 11 locations across New England.
I was watching you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm still don't. I don't know how to react to that. Having a vehicle you can rely on, that's important. That's why you can rely on 24 Auto Group. They will treat you like family, and that's because they are family owned and operated. They're honest, easy to work with, and they just get it. Whether you're looking for something sporty, something luxurious, or just a solid everyday ride, 24 Auto Group always comes through. With 9 brands and 11 locations across New England, there's something for everyone. And here's the best part. They've got the knack to save you more on a new or pre-owned vehicle, and the knack to pay you more for your trade, up to $2,400 over book value. You can even drive home with just $24 down. So if you want the best deal without the runaround, go see my guys at 24 Auto Group, because you always get more at 24. Let's spin it forward. Building this ownership group.
Yeah.
What goes into that? Are there people from the start that you want to get involved? Where do you meet all these other people that as you're putting together that group?
Yeah. No, it's a great group of people first and foremost, and I think when the thing that you're trying to get people to sign up for is the Boston Celtics, it was not. I mean, it was hard, but it wasn't that hard. I mean, that's a great opportunity for folks, and so. And I, these things kind of network a little bit, and you kind of you meet some people and you meet some other people, and then it kind of starts fitting together. But by the end, we had the ability to pick and choose whoever we wanted, and thinking about folks that both were passionate about the Celtics and actually had something complementary to bring, passionate about what the Celtics could do for the community, and I'm just thrilled with the group we've put together.
Tell me a little bit about the key figures and some of the people that are.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't mind me saying, but like Rob Hale, for example, who already was one of the investors, and kind of came back in a really important way. Like in terms of the work that he's done in the Boston community with Children's Hospital and things like that, like that's the kind of person that I wanted as part of this group. Frankly, Wick, staying on that, and it was really, really important to me. And I think just more generally, all the owners that investors that were in the group, that came back, like I wanted to make that work. I'm so grateful to what they've done. I'm so grateful to what Wick did with his leadership, and Steve, and so like allowing them and inviting them and asking them to come back in. Like if it were me and I were one of the owners and this had happened, I would have been heartbroken. Mm-hmm. So and they did so much good. I mean, for the team and for the city of Boston. Like so there's a bunch of those folks as well.
What have you learned from the infancy of having Wick around and just being able to learn how revered that group became based on the way they led the team?
Yeah. A lot of things. I think one of them is kind of a little bit know your place. I feel like I'm somewhat self-aware of those things, but you know that you have Brad Stevens, making in his team making decisions. You have Joe, Brad is, I'm not bashful about it. I think he's the best, basketball person in the entire league. So making sure that you know that he needs to be out in front of that, and whatever I can do to help him, I'm going to do. And then on the other side, the business side, you have similar leadership with Rich Gotham. I mean, it's a really A+ organization, and understanding that. Yeah, we have to be better. We can always be better, and there are things that I can do to be helpful, but it's really helping them do their jobs even more effectively. That's probably the biggest thing. Your
other alternate governor, Aditya Mattel.
Yeah.
Well, how did you meet him,
yeah.
and what was it about what he can bring?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of like the Kevin Bacon thing. I should have known him probably whatever. It was 1 degree of separation. Like, I probably should have known him. I didn't, but we knew like so many people in common, and just a really top class, really, really good person, really humble, and frankly, we're talking about the complementarity of the group. he and there are others as well, but as we think about the Celtics and basketball as an international sport, like that's what he brings. He's a well-known, international business leader, and there are a lot of things going on, beyond the outside of the United States, and that's one of the areas that I think he can be particularly helpful to the league and to more importantly the Celtics.
And Celtic fandom there too, right? I think I read that he's.
Yeah.
Everybody in the group, I feel. I mean, not obviously once you're in, you're going to be a fan, but especially when you're coming from the outside, everyone's going to vet these guys and say like. Yeah, have you been along for the journey?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the case with him and everyone in the group, frankly.
These will be the toughest questions I ask you all day.
All right.
But
sit up straight.
There we go.
Yeah.
There's invariably when new owners come in.
Yeah.
There's new owner syndrome, right? Like there's this perception that you need to do something. You need to leave your imprint. Yeah. From everything I've gathered from you, it sounds like you're more fly on the wall. But tell me, like, what is your plan for the infancy of this voyage?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, and first and foremost, I came to this as a fan. I'm going to continue to be a fan. I would say that I sort of touched on it earlier as well. I think my job and our as a group, our job. Actually, one of the things that's interesting, I really appreciated Allison Feaster, who does a lot of the culture building, that sort of thing for the Celtics. She and her team have this notion of what jersey do we wear, and everyone within the organization, what jersey do you wear to help make the Celtics a better a champion on the court and off the court. And I love that. And so, I'm actually doing a session with the new investor group today, and that's the cornerstone of what I want to talk about, is what jersey do we wear? And that jersey is being supportive to the organization to help Brad and Rich and their teams, do what they want to do, and to, basically, be and be a force in the community around, with the Celtics platform. Those are the type of things that we're going to do, and that's the jersey that we're going to wear.
How much did you have to learn about the second apron? How much did you know coming in?
Yeah.
Do you have to take a crash course in CBA before you buy one of these teams?
Yeah, it's complicated, but I think the spirit of what it's trying to do, I think is a positive thing. And as you think about like how do you build champions, and not just for 1 year, but for multiple years. If you look at over the last 7 years, I think there's been 7 different champions. I want to be a champion every year, and that's what we're shooting for. And that's why you need people like Brad and Joe, and you need leadership on the court with Jason and Jalen and Derek and folks like that. But yeah, there is some ins and outs there. But in the end of the day, we'll do, as an investor, we'll do whatever we can to make sure this team's a champion, and we'll work around it.
I don't know if you listen to sports radio.
I do. Yeah.
I don't know if you watch our network.
I do.
There are times where we just, conversations come up, and I think invariably, especially after an off season like this, where how much do you have to put your faith in? Like Brad's gonna do the right things for this, but also knowing that there could be some blowback on you guys. They say, the new owner comes in and he's cutting costs. Like how do you balance like not getting riled up by what happens on the outside?
Yeah, and I try to put myself as a fan, thinking about how would I react to that kind of thing. So that's a first point of departure, like making sure you have that point of view and you have that awareness. Because some of the things we had to do, like on the surface, didn't look like were we really building towards a championship approach, and the timing was a little unfortunate. So you have to be aware of that. On the other hand, with the way things work, there isn't a Derek White or a Kristaps Porzingis or Drew Holiday if we had been in the situation we were now or before we did these things a couple years ago. So you have to kind of work through that. And I will say, like, Boston, I know the folks are doing their job and the press and everything and the fans, but these are pretty sophisticated fans, and I think people get it. And I think there's just, there's just some patience that has to come with it. And I think that's how you avoid the new owner syndrome as well, which is, very, very detrimental and damaging.
ignore the 1%, stay off Twitter. Like, you know,
Yeah.
we try to educate, you know, but
Yeah.
I think people understand. I will say, like, long term, there are benefits if you guys do get under the luxury tax and stay under. Like, how do you balance that? Trying to get back to a championship level immediately.
Yeah.
And the impacts of the aprons and taxes.
Yeah. I want to win every year. Like I'm desperate to win, and so, you know, how do we do that in the short term and in the long term? I think that's what we're thinking about every day, and I'm trying to help Brad to make that happen. And, you know, I think we've set ourselves up for that where we stand right now.
All right, last hard one, and then we're going to do the fun stuff.
All right.
Do you have a goal, a plan with the building?
Short answer is no. We're whatever weeks in now here, literally. That said, you know, I think there's some philosophical pillars in terms of how, you know, I'm thinking about how we're thinking about it. I mean, the first is, you know, I love the Boston Garden. There've been banners raised there. That's a great place, you know, for the fans. It's a great place for the players. So that's a really good place to start. Second thing I would say is that the Bruins and the Celtics belong together. So no matter what happens, that's a real priority, you know, for me. Mm-hmm. And then third, the most important thing is we're going to create the best experience for fans that we can, and we'll figure out what that is. But that's kind of how I approach it, and, you know, we'll go into an open mind, but, you know, I think that's the starting point, those three things. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about
Seems like I prepared that one a little bit. I felt
that's
like maybe,
fine.
maybe you were going to ask that. I figured I might get that one.
You'll probably
get a few more times in the
next couple days. You did that one very well. When you look ahead to this year's team, what excites you most?
Underdog mentality. I mean, I'm like, you know, Joe some. I mean, he is going to, he and Jalen and Derek and Peyton, I mean, they're gonna. This is a real opportunity, and this is where, you know, this is the crucible. You really show what you're made of, and I love that. Some of my favorite teams are those Isaiah teams. You know, I'm going to do it because Tom, on the way in here, Tom Giles, we were talking, and he said, and I told him I would give him credit. I'm going to give him credit here, but he said,
we talked about this earlier.
I can't do. You don't do that. You just take it.
Yeah, you can't give Giles credit. Like then he walks around with a big head around here.
Well, okay, but anyways, I've done it, so it's out of the bag.
Okay.
So basically, he said, you know, and it's every game matters, but like in this kind of situation, every game matters, every moment, and that should be the case in every season, obviously, but. You know, now, you know, we've got to just work it hard. And I love that underdog mentality. That's why you asked me about some of my favorite players. A lot of those guys were that kind of player. So
that Isaiah Thomas season, I'm telling you, like, just because it kind of came out of nowhere and there were like low expectations, and then just give people opportunity.
Yeah, I don't think the Garden probably was louder than in that season. Yeah, it's just really
those fourth quarters. King in the fourth.
Amazing. Yeah, King of the Fourth.
Well, Peyton Pritchard's got some extra minutes this year.
Yeah.
We'll see where he goes. Yeah. Give me your oddest Joe Mazzulla interaction so far in 6 months around the team. Don't look at PR.
So Joe is very intense, obviously, and which I love, by the way. And the first time I met him was out in Sacramento. And Abby was there. So
I was stuck
here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was sitting courtside with the owner of the Kings had invited me to go, so I went. And I wasn't wearing any Celtics gear, and I wasn't really cheering. I was trying to be polite, and, you know. So, and it was their team building and everything. And after the game, I see Joe across the court, and he makes. I never met him, never spoken. I see he makes eye contact with me, and he comes straight beeline to me, and I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. And he comes over, he puts his hand out, and he says, 30 freaking arenas, and all you hear is, let's go Celtics. I love it. Shakes it one more time and walks away. That was it. I've spoken to him many times since, but yeah, that's that kind of intensity. He was pumped up. It was a good game, and I just love that intensity he has.
I thought you were going to say he came over and challenged you to like jiu-jitsu because you weren't wearing Celtics colors that night.
Yeah, no, I would politely decline that one.
Don't need any of that. You mentioned Brad. What was that first meeting like? When he's kind of laying out the vision, and again, from the outside, I'm sure you have a respect for what he does, but then to hear him sort of giving you the pathway forward.
Yeah, there's that's a little bit. It was. You take the example how excited I was to meet you. I just multiply that by a few times. No offense, that's okay. But he is. I understand why he's gotten the results he does, because he is both super smart. He's got good IQ and EQ, and he's got that humility. He's got that kind of self-awareness that you really need to have. Once you get to the top, you have to be aware that you can't. It's not always easy to stay there, and he's just a good person. Really good person.
So Jason's been doing the media tour this week.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten people a little bit excited. How do you navigate his rehab process, and what is it like watching him when he's in the building and putting in all that effort to try to get back on the court?
I mean, I would say, well, first and foremost, like it is 100%. Like there's not rushing anything. He needs to be 100% plus, both physically and frankly mentally as well. Like he has to be locked in, and whenever that is, that's when it is. And I don't have a really good sense of when that is, but the way, and I shouldn't be surprised, we shouldn't be surprised, the way he's attacked the rehab, like, people are sort of like, they've never seen anything like it. So the guy's he's special, and he's a warrior. So I'm sure he'll come back better than ever.
And that's got to rub off on everybody else inside the building, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, when you see someone in that situation putting that sort of effort forward.
Yeah, that's a leader.
Jaylen Brown?
Yeah.
What do you expect from him in this elevation to a heftier role? Yeah.
I mean, again, the leadership thing is the thing I'm most excited about, and I'm expecting that he'll take his game to another level. Not just scoring and things like that, but he's very, very focused on being a complete player. As I think people know, and I think this is it. I think I'm really excited for him.
And last one, Billy Banners. We going with it?
Well,
word on the street is that it's found some fans back home.
It's gotten a little bit with it's mostly because my kids like to make fun of me for it, but I would say, like, I actually really like it, but I also I need to earn it.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah,
but we can. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
it's a tough balance. So do we call you it? I guess we can't until you get that banner.
You can call me in a kind of a mocking way, until a joking way. But then, then when we get it, maybe that'll really, really stick.
Were there any other nicknames growing up, or anything that you want to put out to the universe? Secret talents, nicknames. I'm trying to get the last bit of personal.
No, I don't know. There are probably some that can't be mentioned, but no, I'm gonna embrace this one and make it my own when I deserve it. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's a good way to do it. Can we do this more often?
Let's do it.
All right. I had to do it on camera that way.
Yeah, you got me. I got to record. Yeah, you promised. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Yeah.
Drew Carter here with The Knack. Critics say your deals are too good to be true. What do you say to that? Well, the receipts don't lie.
At 24 Auto Group, you get more. More convenience with 11 locations. More money for your trade with $2,400 over book value for your trade. Plus $24 down drives every day. And get 24% off service.
Family owned and operated. 24 has The Knack to save you more.
New England gets more at 24.
All right, what a treat. I had like a list of questions that I wanted to pepper him with. I got to maybe half of them. Hopefully we can lure him back to the studio, or maybe do something over at the Garden during the course of the season, find out even more about Chisholm, his family, the plan moving forward. But you can see the excitement. You get just how much this means to him, the responsibility that comes with owning the Boston Celtics, and eager to see where him and this new group takes the franchise. This is just the start. We got Media Day on Monday. Come on back. There's going to be no shortage of Celtics Talk podcasts moving forward, but we'll be able to digest, get the initial vibes from Media Day on Monday over at the Auerbach Center. Practices start on Tuesday. We're back on the treadmill, and we are rolling with the new Celtics season. We'll catch you next time on the Celtics Talk podcast.